Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, y'all, I'm back with another flashback. This video features Velvet. Guys, I am still working on re-uploading all of my content back onto YouTube, adding my commentary so that I can meet the YouTube guidelines. This is why you guys are seeing so many flashbacks from my channel. Guys, please drop a comment, smash the heck out of that like button, and share. All right, y'all, let's get into this video.
Peace to everybody in the room. It's been a while since I've been on here, but let's get it started. I'm gonna wait for some more people to come in. Let me check a couple things on here. Alright, cool. So, welcome. First of all, hold on. Let me make sure something. Okay, guys, let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Alright, cool. Alright, so I'm about to turn off the chat. Usually, I don't turn off the chat because I'm able to transmute negativity and comments and all this crazy shit, right? But we're just gonna get started. But I'm gonna hide the chat for now. Okay. All right. So cool. So how have I been? I haven't been on here in a while. I've really just been getting to know myself, taking each day at a time, being in the moment with myself, just really taking care of myself.
This is the same song and dance Velvet does each time that something happens in her life. Like around this time, this is when Janae had exposed that she's pregnant by Solar, and I'm sure she wasn't happy about that.
Taking care of myself, taking care of my children, making sure that I have what I need. My timeline was altered, but everything happens for a reason. As a child, as I grew up, I always said to myself, everything happens for a reason. That's how I grew up. So when I go through things in life, I'm like, okay, this is happening for a reason, and I'm always looking at, okay, what could I learn? What could I apply to my life? A lot of people don't really know me and don't really know what's going on in my life or how I process things and how I handle things. So there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of question there, there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of, you know, just like false information, And on top of that, people will like want to make me out to be like this horrible person or this horrible mother, and that's just not the truth, and it's not fair. But people are entitled to how they feel. People are entitled to what they want to do, you know. And I just agree to disagree, And this is why I have isolated myself for so long. When you guys did see me isolate myself, and this is why I really don't have friends, and this is why I don't talk to people, because people have befriended me, and I thought that they were my friends, and I thought that they had my best interest, and then they turned on me in the process. And I've never done these people anything. I've given them things out of my own possession. I've reciprocated love to them. I've, been there for them if they need it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, people do what they want, but I'm not gonna allow people to just do whatever they want in my life. Like, people can't just come into my life and be my friend and then think that they can fuck over me and then still be cool with me. Like, that's weird. That's weirdo shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I think, if I'm correct, I think that is tied to the social media um, uproar, the social media drama, and all of that stuff. But guys, like, honest to God, for me personally, I'm a non-confrontational person. I don't like drama. I don't like arguing. I don't like fighting. I don't like emotional immaturity. When you guys did see me in the situation with, we're gonna call it CN. We're gonna call it.
Yes, Velvet, we all know that you were a part of Carbonation, the cult ran by Eligio Bishop, aka Nature Boy, aka Three God, your husband and baby father. Yes, everybody knows that you were in Carbonation and you were the chiefess of Carbonation.
We're gonna call it CN. We're gonna call it carbonation. We're gonna call that CN. So moving forward, we're just gonna use the letter CN, right? But when you guys did see me go through that experience in my life, I was a bit confrontational and I was emotionally immature and things of that nature because of the fact that I constantly felt like I had to protect myself. I constantly felt like I had to protect my child at the time. And yeah, I was just always in a war or in a battle. But I quickly realized that I don't need to be around people who want to fight me. I don't need to be around people who want to destroy me. I don't need to do that, you know? And so when I stop being friends with people and I leave them alone and I just be like, fuck this relationship, they get even more angry and then they, blast me or expose me, whatever that looks like, right? But we're going to jump into the topic because I have other things to do. We're going to jump into this topic that I have in the title. Why do I let my children call men daddy?
Yes, definitely, Velvet. I want to know, and I know a lot of other people want to know, why you allow your children to call other men daddy.
My children call men daddy. There's a lot of misinformation that's going around about this topic. And I don't really talk about this topic because for me personally, I feel like I don't have to prove anything to anyone on the internet. Like, I don't know.
Okay, so she says she doesn't care and she doesn't have to prove anything to anybody on the internet. However, she's on the internet right now to explain why she allows her children to call other men dad.
Internet, like, I don't know you guys. I don't know you people. I don't know what you guys got going on in your life. And I just don't feel moved to address things that are not true. And I don't feel the need to address things that are like negative. Like, that's just not my style. But the reason why I'm here today is because I am feeling moved to tell my story because of all of the slander, all of the defamation. I don't think you guys realize how much defamation, is on me right now. And I'm not bothered and I'm not worried about it. It's just that I know that I have a purpose and I know that everything that happened on social media happened for a reason. And I know that there are other mothers who are going through the same things that I'm going through when it comes to narcissistic relationships, people befriending them and betraying them, people being manipulated, people being gaslighted at an all-time high. Everything that I've been through on social media is something that is happening quite literally in our community behind closed doors. I was just a person and the catalyst for all of this trauma, all of this negativity to show up in and show up through, so we could potentially address it. So that's why I'm here to address the overall trauma that our children are going through and the processes of us leaving narcissistic abuse, leaving domestic abuse, leaving emotional abuse, and even spiritual abuse. So, for me personally, when I had my first child, I never contemplated or even thought that I would have my first child the way that I did. Neither did I contemplate I would have my second child the way that I did. But that was a reality that I quickly had to come to terms with so that I can be okay with myself and love me fully. That was a part of my journey and something that I needed to go through in order to really love who I am despite what I go through and what I endure. So, my vision for my first child, I always wanted to live on land. I always wanted to raise my child on a farm. Of course, I wanted to have my husband there. I wanted him to have locks. And, I wanted us to just live in tune with nature, and be spiritual, like pray to God and read the Bible and, steadfast in the truth. At that time of my idea of how I wanted to have my first child, I thought that was happening. I was oblivious to a lot of things. I didn't know a lot of things that was going on with me behind closed doors with the father of my first child. So with that being said, things escalated really quickly. And a lot of people don't know that from the time my daughter was born, my first daughter, from the time she was born up until like July of that same year, because she was born in January. So up until July of that same year, my documentation was being held hostage from me, which led me to be held hostage in turn. And I couldn't leave as much as I wanted to, as much as you guys see me go back and forth. The reason why I couldn't leave was because I was in a foreign country and I couldn't leave the foreign country without those documentations. So I was in a constant battle with wanting to leave versus staying to be able to have my documentation to maybe successfully leave with my child. And there was a point in my time in my journey where I was like really battling leaving, and like I really didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't know how I was going to execute my exodus. But I tried everything. Like I tried everything, but everything happened the way that it needed to. And the only reason why I went back to the father of my first child was because of gaslighting and manipulation tactics. And that was something that I had to learn over time. That wasn't something that was just like, brought to the forefront of my awareness. And as much as my family, as much as my people who do support me on the internet was telling me, like, don't go back, don't do this, don't do that, I can say for myself personally is that like certain things that we go through, we need to experience it in order to really have that wholehearted understanding and that reassurance within yourself, like, okay, I'm not just doing something because somebody else told me to, but now I'm doing it because I know for a fact that this is what I should be doing. So, we learn lessons the way we need to.
I definitely kind of agree with her here. We do learn lessons when we need to. However, there were so many people, both in your personal life, Velvet, and online, telling you to stay away from Eligio Bishop, aka Nature Boy, aka Three God, your baby daddy and husband. Everybody told you.
We learn lessons the way we need to, whether it's the hard way or the easy way, or whatever the case may be. But moving forward, I now have the wisdom to be able to give to my children while they're young so that I can raise my children while they're young to be, aware people, aware women when they are my age. And so that I'm grateful for and I'm thankful for. I really don't try to look at the cons of my situation more than I look at the pros, because I'm not naturally a negative person. I'm a very optimistic person. So if something's negative happening in my life, I'm looking at the positive, like, okay, what can I be grateful for? How could this work for me rather than against me? Like, what am I learning from this situation? So that's how I take an approach to my life. Many people don't do that, and that's not my problem. That's not my issue. But that has gotten me very far. That has grown me into a very beautiful person, I say myself. But just to backtrack just a little bit, with my first daughter, through the first 2 years of her life, her biological father was in her life. And he was quite a character. You know, I don't know exactly what he would teach her when I wasn't there, because there were a lot of situations where because of his narcissistic behavior, he would like put a wedge in between me and my first daughter's relationship, and he would try to, you know, make me believe that the women who we were in a polygamous relationship with were to take care of my child, were to do the motherly things that I was supposed to do for my child. Mind you, I'm already a mother without children. Like, that's who I naturally am, you know. So it didn't set well with me, and we were constantly getting into arguments. And we would when we would get into these arguments, the women would come and take the child, would take my first child, and I really don't know what they taught her. Like, and that's honest, you know. So in these moments where we would be done arguing, me and the father, we would be done arguing, and I would have to take time to like recuperate because I'm like so emotionally distressed. You know, it was a lot going on emotionally and mentally for me. So I would take some time to myself after these arguments, and it wouldn't be extremely long, but I definitely would take time for myself. And he would be bonding with the child from what I knew, or maybe the other women were. And I don't know what he taught her, but what I do know is that he made himself very prevalent in her life. He made it known to her that he was her father, that he loved her, that he, you know, I believe he pretty much loved bombed her. So by the time Eliana got to a point where she could talk, you know, all she was talking about was her dad. You know, she would always ask me about her dad, especially if we would leave and then we would go back and then we would leave. Eliana been through all of that with me. So she would ask me about her dad, and, you know, I would have to share certain information with her so that she could understand, so that she wouldn't, you know, be confused about why, you know, we weren't having him or her father in our lives.
Y'all, I wonder what she told baby Eliana, because how do you explain that relationship to a child?
Our lives. And so a lot of me telling her about her father, you know, resonated with her. And because we were so isolated in carbonation, we were around like other people for a while. So when we actually went back home to my family, she called my dad. She would call my brother's dad. She would call random people dad. Like she didn't know the difference between one man being her dad than another man being her dad. Like, she didn't comprehend that. She just wanted her dad. You see, so I would be very emotionally like stressed out about that, because like there's no way that you could tell a 2 year old, you know, like, you probably won't ever be able to see your dad again without, you know, like, it's a sticky and hard situation to deal with. So, you know, I had to then and therefore teach Eliana. And it wasn't just the men. Like, Eliana would call other people mama, you know, but then I started to teach her, I'm your mom, that's your dad, and that's it. And this is your grandpa, this is your uncle, this is XYZ. So now, at that point, Eliana's like maybe 2.5, maybe, and she understands the difference between mom, dad, auntie, grandpa, mama, right? But now she's correlating auntie, like anybody who's young looking or younger in a younger bracket, if they look young to her, she's immediately calling them TT. Like, because Eliana has a level of respect. I raised Eliana to have a level of respect. So when she sees adults and they're younger looking, if it's a woman, she'll immediately call them TT. You see, she doesn't. She's just very respectful how she approaches adults. If she sees an older woman, she'll immediately call them mama. Like, if they have gray hair or whatever, she'll call them mama. And it's like I'm seeing from a child's perspective that she's just correlating identical physical features that are correlating with the word auntie, grandma. Like, this is how aunties look. This is how grandmas look. This is.
Y'all, didn't Velvet say that she was going to let us know why she allowed baby Eliana to call other men daddy? None of this is explaining that. None of it.
Aunties look. This is how grandmas look. This is how grandpas look. So when she would see an older man, if he had gray on his beard or whatever, if he was older, she would call them Papa, you know? And so every time that that would happen in my life, I would stop her and I would teach her who the person is. And Eliana has a very clear understanding of who people are in her life. You guys don't get to see that. You guys, that's like in the windows of my life. But I make sure that Eliana knows who people are, and I make sure that I tell her to stay close to me. And that's why she's always with me. But you guys wouldn't know that because that's not recorded. So I understand why you guys have this disposition online. Like, you just let your child do whatever. But you guys literally caught small moments that were literally this big and you blew it up this big. Because after that small little moment, there were other things that happened that you guys have no idea about. So that's why I don't really get too caught up into like feeling some type of way about people saying these things about me, because at the end of the day, I know you guys don't have other details about the situation to come to a fair and a fair judgment about the situation. So the first time you guys ever heard Eliana call someone dad was when I was in Puerto Rico. And I was in Puerto Rico, in fact, getting a protection order on her biological dad because he was fleeing from state to state, country to country, so that I wouldn't be able, excuse me, so that I wouldn't be able to have an address on him to usher a protection order to keep me and Eliana safe. So there was a sequence of events that happened where, and I was pregnant with Aviana at the time. I literally had to go to Puerto Rico, get a protection order, do all of these different things, and protect myself in the process. The men that was around me, I'm sorry guys, I'm kind of stuffled up, but
Yeah, we all remember Puerto Rico when Nature Boy tried to break into that house that she was staying in with that other tribe and that young guy. Oh, yes, we all remember that Puerto Rico.
I'm sorry guys, I'm kind of stuffled up, but the men, the men that was around me at the time, those men protected me. Whether I had relationships with them or not, that's not the point. The point is that they protected me from the infiltration of Eliana's biological dad. That was a very abusive. So that I am grateful for, because without those men in place, it would have probably been worse. Her dad tried to break into the house that I was in, like, and this and all at the same time. This is the reason why I'm getting a protection order on him. So, long story short, one guy in particular, all of the other women, like the women that were there, they were not even like trying to help. They weren't even like aware. Like, they just were like out of it. So one guy stepped up and he was like, "Listen, I can help you. I'll be able to, usher you here and there. I'll be able to protect you because I'm pregnant at the time. Like, I have a bump. So like, he sees everything that's going on, and I'm like, all right, cool. Mind you, the police is there also because I wanted them calling the police. I locked me and Eliana in the bathroom. I wanted them calling the police, whatever. And the police is like, sees the severity of the situation, because not only is Eliana's biological dad trying to break an entry into the home to harass me and do whatever he feels like he needs to do because he feels like he has ownership of me. He also has the other cult members standing outside the house talking to me like, "You ain't shit, you need to let her have her dad in her life," and all of this shit. And I'm like, bro, y'all getting abused too. Like, so it was like a whole posse, a whole mob against me and my baby while I'm pregnant. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it was crazy. So fast forward, the specific guy, he goes into the police car with me. I let the police know that this is a very dangerous situation. I'm gonna need this guy here at least to help, when you guys are not around. So me and that guy, we actually were friends, and we decided to move to another part of Puerto Rico because it was so much drama. It was too much.
Now, Velvet, you know you and that boy was not just friends because you actually took him from another woman in the tribe and y'all were in a relationship, okay? In a full-blown relationship while you was pregnant with baby Aviana. Just keep it a stack, Velvet.
So me and him pulled our resources together, and we were able to protect ourselves and the child that was present at the time from all of the abuse and all of that stuff, in the process of me getting the protection order. So when me and this guy was going through that together, Eliana was around him, and I never left my child around him unsupervised. I don't remember this one particular live where you guys may have thought that I let him bathe her or something like that, but that's not the case. What actually happened was the fact that he turned on the water to rinse off whatever it was that she had got dirty because she pooped. I was potty training her at this time. She pooped on the floor and she stepped in it. And so I went to get the wipes. I wiped her, and he was like, I'll help you because you're live. So he went to go pick up the poop. He noticed that she stepped in it. So he turned on the water so that he could rinse her feet off. But this wasn't on camera. You guys weren't there for this particular moment. And I guess like in the midst of that or something, Eliana called him dad or whatever. But I didn't address it at that moment because I was already doing something. So when the cameras went off, mind you, Eliana had never called him anything at that point. Like she didn't know, like she didn't call him anything. You see what I'm saying? She only knew mommy. So after that situation was over, and stuff like that, she did call him daddy again. But I sat there with her in front of him. I sat there with her and I let her know this is his name, this is who he is. Your dad is XYZ. And she was like, oh, okay. So then she starts to call him his name. But this wasn't on camera. So you guys never got to see that footage. You guys never, this is details that you guys don't know about. So moving forward, anybody that I had come into contact with after that I've dated, like Aviana's father, Eliana wasn't around him that much to even be like daddy. You see what I'm saying? So she doesn't even have a connection with Aviana's dad to be able to have called him dad or whatever the case may be. But Eliana, from my acknowledgement, Eliana has never called anybody dad after that particular moment, especially anybody that I was close to, because I've always told her, this is their name, this is XYZ, blah, 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 blah. This is your grandma, this is your grandpa, this is your uncle. Mind you, she has a big family. She has five uncles. She has five aunties. She has a ton of fucking cousins. Like, so Eliana has a huge family. So with that being the case, oh, excuse me, guys. As my emotions are coming out. Excuse me. Water has been spilling all over the place. Water is coming out of my nose. Oh my God. So good. We're releasing. So good. So anyway, fast forward. The next person that Eliana calls dad is Solar, right? Eliana calls Solar dad.
Now, Velvet, what about your neighbor in Ohio who busted you out and said that Eliana was calling him dad? And what about when Yakin said that he was only around your kids for like 10 minutes and Eliana was like, bye, daddy? What about that? See, if you're going to address it, you need to address it all, not just some.
Granted, I allowed Eliana to call Solar daddy. I did. I allowed her to do that because I personally felt like, regardless of the ups and downs Solar and I have, I felt like he was worthy of it. And the reason why I felt like he was worthy of it is because of the fact that whether he has children or not, what he offered me, and regardless of whatever we went through emotionally together and whatever that was, and with the lies and all of that shit, that's not the point. The point is that what he offered to my family in the midst of everything that I was going through was something so valuable to the point where I'm literally still implementing it into my life. And this has helped me parent my children better. And what I mean by parent my children better is this. The first 2 years of Eliana's life, her biological dad was teaching her how to disrespect me, how not to like me, how to be disobedient to me. So Eliana did not respect certain boundaries that I had for a very long time. Eliana couldn't understand that I had her best interest for a very long time because of the teachings of her father, her biological father. So through the years after me leaving, through the 2 years after I left, I'm constantly reiterating to Eliana, I love you, I care about you. And it's hurting me because I naturally feel I do love my child and I do have my child's best interest. And the reason why we're out of this situation is because of me. But because she was taught otherwise, it made it hard for her to grasp that from being an infant up until 2 years. It's just making me emotional. But and it's real. You know what I'm saying? That's real. So, that being the case, I constantly would, just reassure her. But I've had many moments where I would literally just sit in front of Eliana and fucking cry. These moments were not blasted on social media. These moments were never put on camera because I don't have anything to prove to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my real life. This is shit that I'm actually going through. And it's like, I don't deserve that. Regardless of how people see me online, regardless of the picture people try to paint of me on social media, I didn't deserve the way that I had Eliana. Eliana didn't deserve to come into the world like that. The way that I was treated during and after my pregnancy, I did not deserve that. The way that Eliana was treated or while she was in my womb, and after she was born, she didn't deserve that. So because I had a natural, already goal in my mind for how I wanted to have my children, I'm like, okay, fuck the dad. You know what I'm saying?
Velvet, I hope you've learned your lesson. You need to stop letting baby Eliana call all of these men dad. I don't care if you think they deserve it or not. Fast forward to today, you and Solar ain't together. So now baby Eliana has to suffer the loss of another, what she considers dad.
I'm like, okay, fuck the dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get to the goal that I wanted to have for you initially. So that's what I focused on, and I did a lot of foundation work to get Eliana to where she is right now. And every time, Eliana is around other people, other kids, I get nothing but good compliments. And I'm too hard on like when I get my good compliments, I'm like, damn, I'm too hard on myself because I literally would be like, people already calling me a bad mom, so I would be like, am I doing the right thing? Like I will always second guess, you know what I'm saying, like what I'm doing. But every time Eliana would be around other people without my supervision, which would save people. Like I would go to church a lot at these times when I left carbonation or see it or whatever. So I would leave her in the nursery, to be able to get the service and stuff like that. And I would leave her like around my grandma, my mom, and my sister and stuff like that. And I also opened up a child protection case on myself, and I opened up a in-home Every Child Succeed program on myself.
Y'all, I wonder if she really opened it on herself or if somebody else called on her. Because they all have a little way of bending the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Succeed program on myself to where a social worker would come every week to see me, to evaluate me and everything like that, to make sure like whatever. So every time I got good feedback from these people, it was like always exceeding like my expectations. And I would cry because the world is like saying that I'm a bad mom, and no one is really considering what I have to do to be able to stay sane while recreating a foundation for my child that was also abused in the process. It's like, how do I become the bad person? Like out of it all. So I would cry. I would literally cry. And I cried because it's like, this shit hurts. Like, I don't cry enough. You know, but people make fun of that too. Like, look at, she's crying for money and all this shit. I'm like, bro, y'all are fucking weird. This is my life. I'm literally going through this shit, and I'm being stronger than anybody has ever been going through shit like this. And it's like, bro, what the fuck is, like, I can't win for losing. I can't lose to win. Like, it's just weird. Anyway, so because I had such a hard time trying to, not even a hard time, but because it was so stressful and intense to recreate that foundation for Eliana to be more respectful, to be more considerate and aware of the boundaries that I have as a mother, and to know that I am her mother and that she should have these healthy boundaries with me. When Solar came into my life, he established that to a degree that I would have never been able to do on my own, because I'm a woman. I only can do but so much, and I know that every child, whether they are a man or a woman, they need a father in their life, like, period. So when he came into our life, he offered that stability. He offered that, that structure and that foundation. And I was grateful for that, because what that did for me and for my girls was establish a new level of a bond that I had with them. It created a new level of respect that my children had for me. And could you only imagine a child being taught and raised one way, and then you have another child, and then the first child the second child is looking at the first child and is implementing or following what the first child is doing. So if it would have never, for me, honestly, in my mind, if it would have never been for Solar to come and implement the structure that he did, Aviana would be taken after Eliana, and then I would have two on my hands. And I don't deserve that. Like, I don't deserve that. So that was great for me, and Eliana at times, she would come to me, like, Eliana comes to me periodically, and she'll ask me, she'll like, Mom, when am I going to see my dad? Eliana, the things that you don't see about her, she's very concerned about her dad. She's very concerned about if she's going to have a father, or like, she sees other kids with their fathers, and she's like calling other children's fathers her father because she wants a father. She's just a child. She doesn't, she's not recollecting that that's not her dad. She's just thinking, like, I want a dad. You see what I'm saying? And I've had to literally stop Eliana and get on my knees with her and pray with her. And I would tell her, God is your father, at least for now. So we need to pray to God for that, like, straight like that. And I would tell her that every single time she would ask me for a dad. I'm like, we got to pray to God for a dad, because, it can't come any other way. You see what I'm saying? So the way that me and Solar came together, I thought was very spiritual. I thought was very, and I still do think that it was very spiritual. It was very mystical. It was something that I had never experienced before, not even with the fathers of the two children that I do have. So that reigned to be something different to me. And that's why I considered, even congruent to the fact that he did lay down some law and some boundary and some respect in the home. That was very significant. That was very significant. And when I was going through the child protection and the Every Child Succeed program, I would confide in the social workers about how Eliana was raised, by difficulties. They gave me different ways to cope with it. They gave me different activities to deter her mind and redirect her energy from it, and I'm currently right now in the process of taking parenting classes. I have took therapy before, but that's something that I'm looking back into again. So it's like, it's a lot of things that you guys don't know about me that I don't just put out on social media, because at the end of the day, it's not any of you guys' business, number one. Number two, people are trying to, like, bring me down and destroy me at an all-time high for some reason. And I'm just like, bro, both of you are minding my business. Does it really matter who I had a child for, or if I'm gonna have another baby daddy? Like, does that really?
All I'm going to say is, you put it out there, you put pieces of your life out there, so you should expect people's opinions, period.
Another baby daddy? Like, does that really matter? Is that affecting your life? Like, It just doesn't make sense to me, the capacity and the level of which people are trying to bring my life to, when all I'm trying to do is live in a peaceful life, create a peaceful lifestyle for my children, and mind my business. I don't know. I'm not even into the social media world. Like, I don't even know half the shit they say about me, but I really don't care, because my character is going to shine past it all. So it is what it is. And people can say what they want. I really don't give a fuck. I really don't care. So with that being the case, but that's why I allowed Eliana to call call Solar daddy. And I thought that, at that specific time, as I'm allowing her to call Solar dad, I'm looking at Solar as like long term. Whether you guys look at Solar for me as long term or not, it really doesn't hold any weight. What holds weight is how I look at the situation. And it's like, we have we all have our different opinions about things, about people, but we cannot live each other's lives for each other. So it's like there's a fine line between judgment and just outright getting rid of somebody or discarding them and chalking them up to be shit just because you think that they should be doing something that you think that they should be doing. In so many words. So, that's a thing. That's a thing. But outside of that, I haven't, like, Eliana doesn't call anybody daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Like, for the most part, she's mostly around women for the most part. And if she does come around a guy, because of the fact that I was raised with respect for my elders, I teach Eliana how to have respect for her elders. So if she comes around a guy and it might not be her actual blood relative or something like that, I still tell her to call them uncle. I tell her to call women auntie if they are in that caliber, you know. But if it's a situation where I'm not close to those people, I would tell her like this is their name. But even in the midst of calling them auntie, I'll be like auntie such and such, uncle such and such. But she opts to and chooses to just say auntie and uncle because that's easy for a toddler. She's a toddler. She's not recollecting all of those. Like, it's just weird. But anyway, social media has made it seem like, social media has made it seem like I just allow and have my children around any and everybody, and that's not true. People have become my friend. Like, for instance, when I lived in Ohio, there was a girl. I went to a breastfeeding celebration, and
Did y'all know that this girl that she's about to tell y'all about, she recorded Velvet. Velvet did not even know that the girl was recording her on camera. Her and her boyfriend recorded Velvet and Solar.
when I went to this breastfeeding celebration, I was with my children. I had no friends in Ohio. And I lived there for over a year. I would do everything by myself. I would grocery shop with my children by myself. I would go to the laundromat and wash my clothes with my children by myself. I did all of these things by myself. The people that I would talk to and confide in was my social workers. So, and my social workers were even trying to bring me into like mommy cafes so that I can make friends, etc. But I never felt comfortable because there was always this thought in the back of my mind, like people are literally trying to like be my friend to like do some weird shit. So when I finally let go of that fear, right? I went to a breastfeeding celebration and there was this woman there, and she's on social media right now talking shit about me. You know what I'm saying? This is the lady who came to my house and recorded the inside of my house and our conversation without me knowing, and thought that I was not possibly going to find out. But I met her at a breastfeeding celebration. This is the girl named Dej. I met her at a breastfeeding celebration. And if I'm such a bad mom, why would I be at a breastfeeding celebration? Come on now. Anyway, so I'm at the breastfeeding celebration or whatever like that. I'm literally under the breastfeeding tent, breastfeeding my child. And she comes up to me, and now that I think about it, she might have known me off social media. And this is why I was in such isolation for the last year and a half that you guys watched me go through before coming into contact with Solar, because I cannot trust anyone. Like, it's really fucked up. But she come up to me and she's like she's having this conversation with me. She's asking like these different questions, and I'm like, I'm engaging to a certain extent or whatever. I wind up, exchanging numbers with her because she was cool. She was adamant about, exchanging contacts and potentially becoming friends. And so I was like, all right, cool. Like, I let go of the fear of feeling threatened and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, cool, we can be friends. But she texted me, I think, on one occasion, and then like I just kind of never really talked to her because I don't know, something was just like, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, whatever. So I didn't talk to her for months, months. Mind you, I don't have any other friends that I talk to, whatever. So when Solar came into my life, um, with the belongings that I had that my supporters donated to me, which I'm very grateful for and I'm very thankful for, I felt the need to pay it forward because at that point I had to leave Ohio because people were stalking me, people were following me around on the public transportation, people were finding me at grocery stores. At that point, people knew where I lived and I didn't even know. Like, people was stalking me to a whole other degree.
Y'all, I don't believe that people was stalking Velvet. In Ohio, I don't believe anybody was stalking her. I believe that's just the cover story she made up for giving away all the things that her supporters gave her.
Stalking me to a whole other degree. Like, I would have mail, and the mail would come up missing. Like, I didn't know where the mail was. Like, in the neighborhood, the people in the neighborhood weren't safe. So I'm just like, and I had no choice but to live in this neighborhood because of being a low income single mother. And then we already know how that goes. So I felt in danger there. So when Solar came to be with me, it was like there was so much clarity in the fact that, yeah, we're not safe here. You're not safe here by yourself. There was so many other in the window things. And not only that, I had to report to my case managers, I am not safe here. This is what's going on. Mind you, I had already told my social workers, all my case managers, I told them, this is what happens to me wherever I go because of my first daughter's father. There is so much social media defamation and bullying and harassing to the point where I can't even be stable enough and feel safe where I am stable. So people want to make fun of me and say like, why did you leave your home? You had a whole house and da 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 da. That shit was not safe, bro. Like, as much as I wanted it to be, as much as I would have, cultivated that more, it wasn't. So the things, just to forward up a little bit, the things that were in my home, my belongings that my supporters had donated to me at that time or whatever, which I'm very grateful for, I felt the need to pay it forward because there were so many single mothers around me, including that girl Dage. Like, well, she wasn't a single mother, but I could tell she needed things, that her own fucking husband wasn't providing for her, and here I am being single and I don't have no man, and I'm literally living it up. So with that being the case, I'm thinking to myself, like, who can I give this stuff to? Because I'm not gonna charge money for it when somebody else paid for it for me. So I'm thinking in my mind, I can give it away to people who actually need it. So I wind up giving some of the stuff away to a mother who really needed it, who lived next door to me. She had children, and her children had children. Like, she needed it. So that was a Christmas for them, like literally a Christmas for them. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, who can I give the rest of this stuff to? So Dage was the only person that came up in my mind because of the fact that I had no other friends. I had no other connections in Ohio. So I wound up giving her all of the rest of the things that my supporters gave me because I would have never been able to buy a U-Haul truck, find somewhere else to live, do all these other like that was just way too much like at the time. You know what I'm saying? And then in the process of that, me and Solar broke up and I wound up putting him out and he wound up leaving. Like, it was a mess. It was a fucking mess. Like, it was. And so, but at that juncture I still knew that I had to leave. So day she comes by, she's getting all the things, and I'm thinking that I'm confiding in her. Like, I'm thinking that, like, yeah, I could consider you a friend, like,
And you went in on Solar. You sure did. I heard it. I heard the recording.
I could consider you a friend, Like, I'm telling her my personal business. Like, people try to take my audio and try to make it into something that's like bad or whatever the case is. But if I'm having a conversation with another adult, children cannot just come in the middle of that conversation and just start talking as if, no, there has to be a level of respect. But Eliana, when I'm talking to someone or I'm doing something, she has to say, excuse me. She has to have manners. She has to be polite. She has to know how to communicate her emotions, because the last thing that I will have Eliana doing is being one of those disrespectful ass children who are coming into the middle of an adult conversation and just doing whatever. Mind you, I've already given Eliana something to do. I've already given her a space outside, away from the conversation that me and this girl is having. And Eliana, you know, sometimes toddlers, to get your attention, they'll do stuff. So Eliana is bringing all of her toys from the space that I originally gave her into the space with me and the girl. So you'll hear me reprimanding Eliana in the video. But that's like, come on. But this girl, Dage, is literally recording me and my conversation and inside of my house. And I don't even know. I don't even know she's doing this. Mind you, I'm giving her my personal belongings with for no money. I'm buying, like, we bless them with food and everything, like groceries on multiple occasions and everything. And it's like, if I'm such a bad person, if I'm such a bad mother, if I'm like just such this fucked up person, why are you keep coming back to my house to accept the things that I'm giving you? Like, you're using the situation. Like, it's just weird. It's just weird. Like, it's just weird. So that situation happened or whatever, but Eliana has always been safe with me. Eliana has always had what she needed without the support of her biological father. And the man that has been in her life that's not her biological father has offered her things that's way more valuable than what her biological father can ever offer her. So I will never allow, and just to close it out, I will never allow anyone to come into my life and making me think for a fucking second that I'm putting my child in danger, that I'm letting random fucking strangers around my children. Motherfucking Solar is not a random stranger. Number one. Number two, Solar was there. He the one who drove me to the hospital to give birth. Solar is the godfather, actually. But you guys don't know that. You guys don't know that Solar is actually Eliana's godfather. Literally. So it's like, you guys can say what you want. You guys can think what you want. But I am not for a second gonna allow people to pay me and tell my story in some fucked up ass way and try to have me make it seem like
Velvet, ain't nobody on social media painting your life to be anything. You're the one who shows social media what's going on in your life. Remember that.
I'm a negligent ass parent. Eliana is very well taken care of. She understands how life is. She understands certain things that she has to know at 3 years or 4 years old now. And Eliana is striving. Where we are now, we've done way more than what I could have ever done in Ohio if I would have stayed. Our dreams are coming true. Eliana has always asked me to wear those big, pretty princess dresses and be in pageants. Eliana was in her first pageant just the other day. She won most photogenic and state qualifier, so she's able to go off to the next round. So Eliana is living her dream life. She's getting these experiences that she needs, and whether people want to make it seem like I'm a bad mom or not, my children are better off with me than their own biological fathers. And people can say like, oh well, how could you sleep with their biological fathers, whatever. But we know that every woman has been through some type of abuse. My second child's father, though, he wasn't necessarily abusive. He just was emotionally immature, and that's why I decided to exit the relationship. And when I exited the relationship with him, I didn't know that I was pregnant. And when I told him that I was pregnant, he told me that I needed to. No, he didn't tell me anything. He actually said that he would support me getting an abortion, and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" Like, so my mind was fucked up and blown by that. And so I just ended it. Like, I was like, fuck that. I'm going to do this pregnancy on my own. You will never get a chance to like try to downplay me or treat me like I'm that shit. You got me fucked up. So I chose to go through that entire pregnancy by myself on my own. That's when I moved to Ohio, did all of the necessary things that
Now, I know most of y'all have heard the rumors on these YouTube streets and on the IG streets. The rumor has it is that Velvet doesn't know who Aviana's father is at all. So she's talking about she exited the relationship. I had heard one time that Aviana's father was in a relationship while Velvet was dealing with him. That's why he wanted her to have an abortion. That's what I heard.
I did all of the necessary things that I needed to do to get me and my children a stable home, etc. And it wasn't until 2 weeks later, after I gave birth to Avi, that I called her biological father, told him that I had her, and he still was emotionally immature. And she met her dad before on an occasion, but that guy has said so many lies about me to his own family and friends that he can't even face the music of me actually coming around and presenting Aviana to his family because he's already told lies to them and he doesn't want to look stupid. So if I come around with Avi and for for Aviana to be in his life and him successfully be in her life and his family be in Avi's life and stuff like that, he's going to have to confess about the truth of the lies that he told, which he's not ready for because he told some very fucked up lies. So that has driven a wedge between the relationship between him and his child. But for 1 second, I'm not going to allow any man to lie on me, to lie about me, to lie about my children or the relationship that we had prior to us having the child. So, there was a lot of things that happened with him that I'm not going to let fly and I'm not going to allow him to just skate on. Like, you will not have a place in Aviana's life if your whole family thinks that this is a lie. Like, when it's actually the opposite. You got me fucked up and you got this child fucked up. So, again, I choose to take care of my children by myself. I really don't mind it. I love my children. I love myself. And I'm going to keep doing what's best for me. You guys stay tuned. There's more surprises coming, more goals driven, and a lot of things that's being accomplished. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Yeah, to the haters, God bless you. I wish nothing but the best for you. I hope that you come up out of the negativity and the miserable ass slumber that you're in, because what you give out is what you get back. And I just wish everybody nothing but the best. And everybody, just stand in your truth. Tell your story. Don't let nobody tell your story for you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna open up the chat right quick before I go, because I do want to kind of see what people are saying. I don't know if I'll be answering questions right now, because I do need to process some of these emotions that I'm having, because I usually feel like I usually don't uh, I really don't like, how do you say it, process the emotion that I have about a lot of the things that I go through, because I have to be so strong to get through it. So most of my emotions I block out and I try to just like get past it, because I still have to be a mother. I still have.
All right, y'all. If you haven't picked up your copy of Greatness is a Habit, authored by Aaron Dixon, otherwise known as True, many of you know him as True. He is an ex-Carbonation member, and he's authored this amazing read. If you are interested in self-development and growth, this book is a good one for you. It's available on Apple Books for $1, guys. I got my copy and I love this book.
To show up for my children. And I feel like if I take on the amount of emotional distress that I have, I'm not gonna be mentally and emotionally okay to be able to be a mother. So I block it out, but I deal with it in increments, and like this video is kind of exuberating that for me. So I am gonna take my time to just like really be patient with myself, be graceful with myself, and just give myself the time that I need to heal through this situation, because there are other factors now that have added on, to what I am going through or whatever. But I see you guys in the chat. Welcome. I appreciate you guys for being here. You know what I'm saying? But Yeah, yeah, exactly. I really don't care what people think. You know what I'm saying? My choices are my choices. And the choices that I've made, I've learned from. So whether you agree with my choices or not, that's not for you to judge. Like, that's not for you to judge. My choices is what I'm experiencing. And what I'm experiencing is what I have to learn. Like, who are you to tell me, like, what part of life is that? Like, who are you to say that my choices were bad choices? Because you don't know if those choices that I made have landed me in a better position that I once were in. You don't know that. You can't say that. So, like, fuck all that. Like, y'all got too much, like, emotional tie to shit that don't even matter. Like, y'all take things and, like, bring, like, look, the way that I look at life might be different from how you look at life. But that doesn't mean that I need to be I'm not the type, people would call me arrogant for this, but I'm not the type of person to listen to what other people are telling me to do, because to my acknowledgement, none of us have it together. And we're all fucked up and we're all going through fucked up shit. So we're all learning. Period. At the end of the day, that's just it. There is certain advice that I do take.
Y'all, when Velvet says that there is some advice that she does take, the lie detector test determined that was a lie.
There is certain advice that I do take, but some advice I'm not taking it, because at the end of the day, I might actually need to go through that to get through what I'm going through and learn and have the wisdom wholeheartedly to live in my own true authenticity. That's not for you to come into my life and take away. And if you feel arrogant because I'm not, if you feel like I'm being arrogant because I'm not listening to you, that's your problem. Like, go in a corner and suck your thumb and talk to yourself, because at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Period. I'm going to live how I'm going to live, because I have a purpose and I know to some degree what's going on. And I'm not going to allow people in my life to make me think like, oh, you don't know what you want. You don't know what decisions to make. No, 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 no. I know what I'm doing. Even to so much to a degree where if I don't know what I'm doing, shit hits the fan and I'm like, that's why that happened. Oh, okay, 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 that's why that happened. You guys are not in my personal life to know all of the individual details about what's going on and what's not going on. So you guys cannot judge the decisions that I'm making. I don't judge the decisions nobody make. Period. What the decisions people make is the decisions people make. And I'm definitely not into people's lives and telling them how they need to live their life. Velvet Gabriella is gonna live her life the way she sees fit. Period. And in any circumstance, whether I have made a commitment to you or not, I'm going to live my life the way that, and if I choose to be with Solar, that's what's gonna happen. If I choose to not be with Solar, that's what's gonna happen. If I choose to go from here to over in Timbuktu too, that's what's gonna happen. But one thing that I do know is that I'm always going to be provided for and protected for, because that's all I've ever done for myself since I was a fucking child. And I'm going to give that to my children, because my children deserve what I didn't have when I was a child. And I'm not going to let people come into my life and make me feel less than what I know I am, and make me feel like I'm incompetent in some fucking way. I know what I need to do. I know where I'm headed. I know where I'm going. I know what I want, and I know what I don't want. And I know where I don't want to be. And I make that very fucking clear to everybody who comes into my life. And if I don't say it, you can feel it. Period. And so if people don't like that, move around. Get from the fuck around me. Leave me alone. And that's where people get mad at me, because they be like, oh my God, she doesn't want me to manipulate her. She doesn't want me to control her. Nigga, you stupid. You dumb. You sound weird. You sound like you need something to hold on to and attach yourself to. And because I won't allow you to do that to me, now you in your feelings. You're weird. You're a vamp. You're a negative ass person who needs to hop on some type of bandwagon, some type of clout chase, so that you can feel good about yourself, when you really need to be doing your own shadow work, focusing on the shit that you need to be doing in your life, while you so constantly worried about what I'm doing in my life and the decisions that I'm making in my life. Worry about your shit. Worry about your lane. Stop trying to be in mine. You see what I'm saying? And that's just the truth. And if you don't agree with me, you can simply stop watching me. But you know what people do? they comment on me. They try to find some way to be my friend to like make me look bad, or like y'all are weird as fuck. And this is why I don't have friends, and this is why I don't trust nobody. And the people that are around me, I'm fucking struggling to trust them. Like literally. Because there's so much fuck shit going on around me. Like even if I was to go back home to my hometown, like I would be so depressed. I would like it would be multiple things that would just go bad. Not only that, that's my hometown. People know me there. So everywhere I go, I'm constantly being stared at. I'm constantly being looked at. I'm constantly being talked about. I don't got time for that shit. I don't have time for it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm just gonna be myself wherever I am, wherever I go. And if people agree with that, if people like me, then they do. Congratulations. But if they don't, fuck them. That don't have nothing to do with me. I'm not about to lower my standards and lower who I am to be around people that want me to be less than who I am.
All right, y'all. If you haven't picked up your copy of Greatness is a Habit, authored by Aaron Dixon, otherwise known as True. Many of you know him as True. He is an ex-Carbonation member, and he's authored this amazing read. If you are interested in self-development and growth, this book is a good one for you. It's available on Apple Books for $1, guys. I got my copy, and I love this book.
I am. I'm not doing it. Period. And you can call me arrogant. I just know who I am. I know what I have to offer. I know how I feel naturally. And I'm not going to allow you to treat me like I'm less than what I know I am. Period. So, with that being said, I'm on my way out of this live. And I'm just going to let this video circulate and do what it got to do. And I'm just going to continue to mind my business like I was. And I appreciate you guys. You know what I'm saying? And I love y'all. Until next time. Later.
All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this video as well as my commentary. Please be sure to drop me a comment, smash the heck out of that like button, and share. I want to give a warm welcome to all of my new subscribers. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the channel. To all of my OGs, my day ones, my ride or dies. Y'all already know what it is. Big up yourself. We in the building with it.